crisis pregnancy centers are getting threatening letters from the government that they may be running afoul of the Liberals' revamped values attestation for summer jobs grant funding. I guess denying pregnant women services is the new Liberals helping women. Who could forget Justin Trudeau's changes to the summer jobs grant funding that made prospective applicants for funding become sudden Liberals before they bothered to qualify? In 2017, Justin Trudeau's Liberals added an attestation, or an oath, basically, to the application for summer student funding that read, "Both the job and the organization's core mandate must respect individual human rights in Canada, including the values underlying the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, as well as other rights." Now, those other rights include reproductive rights and the right to be free from discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, race, national or ethnic origin, color, mental or physical disabilities, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression. Now, what this really meant in practice was that faith-based groups, let's say like the Knights of Columbus or the St. Vincent de Paul Society or the Mustard Seed, would no longer be eligible for federal funding to hire their summer students to be things like camp counselors at camps for underprivileged inner city kids, or to make sandwiches for the homeless, or to help a battered woman move into her new apartment after leaving her violent spouse, unless these groups signed away their faith in favor of an attestation to the Liberal Party values. The Liberals were offering them a bag of silver to give up Jesus, and I think we all know how that goes in the end. Now, faith groups didn't take this lying down. They brought a challenge against the attestation in court as a violation of their charter rights, and the Liberals, facing intense public outcry from, well, basically everybody, the faithful and the free speech believers alike, walked back the attestation, but only sort of. This is what the Liberals changed it to in December of 2018. Any employer wanting to use the money to hire youth for work that would undermine or restrict reproductive rights, promote intolerance or prejudice, or that would otherwise discriminate on any prohibited grounds cannot receive funding. The Liberals sort of changed the attestation, but it's still a litmus test for ideology, isn't it? Now, you can give a poor person a sandwich, but you still can't strike up a conversation about Jesus over an apple and a hot cup of coffee, or you may run afoul of the Liberal government. Anyway, the attestation may be altered, but the attitude behind it remains, at least according to several crisis pregnancy centers who are now claiming to have received letters from the federal government. For those of you who don't really know what a crisis pregnancy center really is, it's a place, sometimes faith-based and sometimes not, that provides supplies like diapers, clothing, formula, and resources, sometimes financial support, counseling, and it also uses networks to put women who are choosing to have their babies in touch with agencies that can help them make ends meet and raise their babies in safety and security. In short, crisis pregnancy centers support women who want to have their babies and be successful moms. I mean, who really would be against that? Well, apparently the Liberals and radical feminists are, I guess. As reported in the BC Catholic, Barry Busey, the Director of Legal Affairs for the Canadian Council for Christian Charities, said, "We are getting a number of requests for help from many of our members who are receiving notices that they have incomplete information on their application. The government wants these charities to specify how your organization is providing a safe, inclusive, and healthy work environment free from harassment and discrimination. And organizations have been asked to provide copies of their hiring policies and guidelines." Busey noted the Abortion Rights Coalition of Canada, or the ARCC, issued a call in February for the government to take away the registered charitable status of crisis pregnancy centers. These utter ghouls. This is a targeted campaign organized by pro-choice activists to starve crisis centers of much needed resources, and the Liberal government is just all too happy to comply with that request because their ideologies just mesh right up. But this goes to two broader issues, doesn't it? The Liberals, or rather the entire left in general, are so fanatical about abortion that they want to make it the preferred choice of pregnant, vulnerable women and girls by threatening to take the funding of charities who seek to help those in a crisis pregnancy. These are women who have decided already to keep their babies and are looking for help to do so. And the left wants that option right off the table for them. And secondarily, the care of women and children after the pregnancy is brought to term is often the main pro-choice argument leveled at pro-lifers, that they just don't care about babies after they're born. And now, when pro-lifers do, the Liberals are making sure they can't, or at least that these groups can help even fewer women with tighter resources, keeping women and babies poor and in precarious situations for women's rights. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Hey, if you love watching The Rebel, you're going to love listening to us. We have all of our premium content available as downloadable podcasts. You can find those at therebel.media/listen or on any of your favorite podcast directories. And while you're there, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It's a great way to help the network without spending a penny.